Have you ever felt like no matter how much you achieve, it never feels like enough? Like there's always one more promotion, one more relationship, one more something that will finally make you feel seen. Well, maybe it's not what you're chasing. Today, I'll be diving deep into the shadow of greed through the lens of this 54th evolutionary pattern of change and how this shadow can completely rewrite your story. But speaking of story, I'll first start with a parable: the man who climbed forever. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. There was once a man named Vanek who lived in a stone city ruled by hierarchy. From the time he could walk, he was taught, climb or be forgotten. He studied hard. He networked harder. He learned how to bow, to charm, to cut ties, and smile with sharp teeth. By 30, he had a seat near the top, but the summit kept rising, so he climbed more. One day, he met an old man polishing brass in the market. "You're the famous Vanek. Why don't you rest?" Vanek scoffed. "I can't rest when I get to the top." The old man smiled. "But don't you know? There is no top, only a mirror at the peak, and a question waiting." Vanek brushed him off, but the words haunted him. Years passed, exhausted, wealthy, isolated. Vanek finally stood on the final tower. At the top was a mirror, and written in the sky behind him were the words, "You were always the mountain." He collapsed, and for the first time, Vanek wept, not because he failed, but because he realized he'd never needed to climb at all. This 54th pattern of evolutionary change begins in the shadow frequency of greed, but not greed as we often think of it. This is not just material greed, it's the greed to matter, to be seen, and to ascend. In our DNA, this challenge relates to the root center, the pressure to rise. It's ancestral, evolutionary, an ancient fear that says, if you don't evolve fast enough, you will be left behind. This shadow fuels modern life, climbing for success, for validation, climbing in relationships, even spiritually. But this constant striving comes from fear, and fear has no top. The complementary shadow to greed and its fear of having less than others or fear of lack is a shadow of immaturity and its fear of endings. So you can see how if things potentially come to an end and you don't feel like you have enough, it's a drive to seek out what you feel that you don't have enough of, just to reassure you that you are prepared for what's to come and that you are more prepared than your fellow human being and soul. So you can see how these work together to keep us in the take as opposed to shifting to what I provide amplifies, and we all can rise together. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find four legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign, so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than seven, and because there are more than seven, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, the hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the six lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are six expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those six lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you will reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS. before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and human design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you are meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. In our evolutionary story, the shadow of greed serves a function. It helped us to survive, push through adversity, dominate when needed. But now that same drive has become an overactive signal. We rise and still feel empty. We achieve and still feel behind. We compare and we forget who we are. This is not one's fault. It is just programming. But in these 64 patterns of evolution, they remind us your shadows are not your punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to recognize you are not here to compete. You are here to rise in a new way. The shadow of greed evolves through the gift of aspiration. This is still ambition, but not born of lack. Aspiration is your inner fire, aligned with something bigger than one's ego. It says, I rise not to escape my pain, but to elevate my soul and the souls around me as well. Because greed is aspiration based in fear. So it's not about abandoning desire. It's about refining our desire. The truth of this path through this 54th evolutionary pattern of change is not conquest, but contribution. It's about becoming a living current of upward movement, but fueled by grace instead of fear. The grace that awaits the transmutation of greed is ascension. It's the realization that there is no ladder because there is no separation. When you stop striving, your essence lifts. When you stop grasping, grace arrives and descends upon you. The mountain dissolves because you were the mountain all along. You are not here to climb higher. You are here to become still and remember how high you already are. Thank you for watching this video on the shadow of greed and the transmutation process that helps you find true ascension in your divine work. May it stir remembrance, not urgency. May it help you breathe into the part of you that knows the summit is already within you. In the description below, you will find more information on this specific evolutionary pattern of change. You will find links to how to get a hold of me, to have a free consultation, and how to break free of the desperate need to be more, be greater than another, and have more than another. You'll also find my website, which will help you learn more about me, what I do, how I do it, and why, with supportive links to 3 different meetup groups. The first one is divination systems, so that you can transmute all your shadows, embrace all the gifts from the alchemy work and self-mastery, and embody more grace so you can feel truly illuminated and help others to do the same. Then there's emotional intelligence and mastery, so that you can understand your fears, learn how to orient to your inner authority and inner guidance, and then know the path that will truly fulfill your soul. Lastly, there's emotional trauma release, so that you can alleviate yourself of all the repressed fear, all the repressed anger, sadness, shame, and guilt. Understand what messages they had to bring, and therefore embrace those emotions again, knowing how to process them and move with them to manifest true self-fulfilling life. God bless you on your journey. Namaste, and good life to you all.